This is the Chester County Real Estate Podcast, bringing you the info you need to make your next move a great one.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Chester County Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Dominski, and this is the show that gives you the information that you need to make your next move a great one. On this episode, I'm sitting down with Stephen Marks, and we're just going over some of the news and data and figures from the last week to give you an idea of where the market is and what the market's doing right here in Chester County. So welcome, Steve.
Thank you, Sean.
All right, man. So, what are you seeing right now as far as the market's going, just from like an on the ground level?
On the ground level, not too much movement, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on, but very little inventory. So we're kind of still hitting that struggle with it. The stuff that is going on, it's moving. Everything's moving quickly. So it's just kind of like when you find the right place, you got to get in there fast.
So we're looking at less, a lower inventory, which is something we've been dealing with for a while. Have you noticed, is it getting worse? Is it not so bad? Because we were also, I feel like a couple weeks ago, I was talking to people and houses were staying on the market for a little bit longer. Like it wasn't going like the day of. Like we're starting to see homes on the market for like a week or two and a little bit more breathing room in the marketplace, probably because of the higher interest rates.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the area that you're looking at. I have a client that's looking in, the 350 range in Coatesville area, and it's just nothing's staying on the market.
Yeah.
But then, I also have a client that's, looking more towards like Gap area, and that's, we're seeing they're on the market for a week or two.
Yeah.
So
it seems like people are getting maybe pushed out more towards kind of out more west, and we're starting to see the demand kind of trickle down. So it seems like people are kind of not necessarily getting pushed out, but people are starting to go more west, looking for more affordable housing. So it's just, again, it's probably more so that price range right there in the threes. I mean, there's just not much available, for unless you have like a really small house or so, downtown, Westchester, Great Valley. It's just harder to find.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, affordable housing right now is definitely the big struggle. Especially, like people want like townhouses still and stuff like that too. And just trying to find any of that available right now is just not possible.
Right. So I'm looking here. Now, what kind of interest rates have you been seeing lately? It looks like today from Mortgage News Daily, the 30-year fixed rate is at 6.6. So that's a little bit higher than it was the last week or so, but still not the worst it's been.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we are heading more towards closer to the sevens again.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're seeing like 6.6. I think I had a client that got our pre-app back and was around 6.7.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, interest rates are always going to fluctuate. We're still below that average median line though of 8%, so that's good. It's just really too much to say with what's going on with the economy right now.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard it both ways. I mean, it's if you asked 100 people, 50 of them will say interest rates are going up. Then you'll have 50 people who will take the contrarian view and be like, no, it's actually going down. You're like, okay, well, so far it's not really moving much at all, which really is a good thing because it allows you to plan and take the next step and not be worried about what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, your cost of waiting's kind of down a little bit just because it is staying steady. You're not really having to plan around like, hey, I'm looking at houses at 5% now, but next thing you know, interest rates are at 7%. You kind of lose a lot of your spending power at that point.
Yeah. And then it's like, do you rush into something because you think because the interest rate's going to go up? But then again, the prices of the homes might come down, or do you wait to see if interest rates start to come down, but then you're going to see the prices of the houses go up? With the limited inventory, it's like everything's affecting something else too.
Mm-hmm. I think that's when it comes in towards figuring out your numbers and making them work comes into play.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of say to yourself, like, hey, like, well, what are the average rental income in this area is? So what could I rent this house for that I'm about to buy? And does that cover the mortgage? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So as if like, if that way, it's kind of a win situation. So if you guys find that after that, if you find that perfect dream home that you're kind of looking for, and you say to yourself, hey, well, interest rates are at 6 now. Do I wait for them to go down to 5.5 and the house is in here? Or, am I going to be scared and next thing I know, like I can't afford this house anymore,
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. Now it sounds like in this area, rent's almost harder. It's harder to rent something than it is to buy.
Mm.
With so many when landlords get like just a ton of applications, they're going to be super picky and look for any reason to just make that pile smaller, which is tough if you're looking for a place to stay. I have a friend who she was looking for a place, but she had a bunch of cats, and I was like, good luck, because landlords, they're not in the point where they have to make concessions to get people to rent the house out. So they're kind of, they're holding all the cards when there's such a short supply.
Now, the landlords kind of have that name or price tool right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a competitive market for rentals. I mean, I deal with more on the rental listing side, and on the rental listing side, we are seeing, like you said, multiple applicants coming in.
Mm-hmm.
We are seeing kind of like that, and we are having to like kind of heavier vet the clients.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, landlord any day of the week is going to go with the safest option.
Right.
Okay. So, if you're looking to rent, it's just kind of like, hey, how can I become the strongest looking renter is probably the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm. So I was checking out some of the news going on in Chester County. Did you get a chance to look at the local Chester County news?
No, I did not.
So there was a couple interesting things coming up. Just looking in the real estate news, there's some warehouses going in for a 237 acre tract in Euclid Township. So that should be pretty interesting. They're measuring. So the land development has submitted plans to build Class A distribution center with 4 warehouses measuring 1.96 million square feet on a 237 acre property just north of the Turnpike.
Yeah, I did hear about that. It hasn't been announced yet. I saw a post that Downingtown Area School District put out.
Okay.
Because they were the ones that actually did sell the land. I think they sold it for like 96 million.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's rumors about Amazon going in there as a warehouse distribution center. Problem is there's a lot of controversy going back and forth, I've heard. One person I talked to, they're like, let them put it in here. Next person I talked to, it's like, not in my backyard. I don't want a big warehouse. So, it is where they are putting it though, the foot traffic is going to be very tight. Because it's going right off of kind of like Conestoga Road there. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, I mean, so what's there now? You said it was the Downingtown School District.
Yeah, it's just land. It's just land.
So is it farmland?
Yes.
Yeah. So people get pretty upset when you take away their farmland.
Yeah. No, Downingtown School District bought it a couple years ago. I think for like 23 or 24 million, in the hopes of building another school. Mm-hmm. But the problem is they said they've reevaluated their situation because they're not getting as many applicants on the north side of the school district there. And they're getting more on like, I think it was like the southwest side of the school district. So they're trying to build more towards that location because they're talking about putting in a 5th, 6th grade center. Okay. Another one. So,
I guess that makes sense.
There's some other stuff going around.
Because if you're down by like Shady Side, like down that side, that part of Downingtown, you're going to have to go all the way up to Lionville to go to the 6th grade center. Like that is kind of a hike. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if more people moving out down from that side, it's like you're looking at 20-minute school ride, or drive, not even like a school bus ride. So probably more if you're on the bus. But
Downingtown did say this is good for, taxpayers and of course people of the school district. So this way they can, put that profit to use.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because here it says they're opposed. Some neighbors are opposed to the project due to noise, pollution, and concerns for wildlife. Mm-hmm. Now that's interesting. I think the most interesting thing is that no one's like they didn't list traffic. Mm-hmm. So it's like noise, pollution, and wildlife. It's like, well, yeah, that's literally anything. Yeah. And I'm not saying it's okay or a good thing. All those factors have to be accounted for. Hopefully it wouldn't be too much pollution. Hopefully they'd follow all the decent, all the regular regulations. There's going to be a concern for wildlife, just like with building anything. And as far as noise goes, I don't know how much noise a factory would make, but if it's on 237 acres, there's probably going to be some land around it too. It's not going to be like right up against the residential neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, to my understanding, it's kind of going like back towards like behind where Tractor Supply is right now in Downingtown, like Lineville area. It's going back there, and it's going to be like a like more towards the Turnpike area.
Yeah, that's what it says, north of the Turnpike.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, to me, like I found a two-way road like that. It's always kind of been, it's kind of windy, it's kind of tight. So I don't know what they're going to do. They're probably going to have to build that roadway out a little bit. And
how credible do you think the rumors are that it's Amazon and not someone else, like another distribution center? Like we have Urban Outfitters out there in Gap. I mean, that's pretty large.
I mean, it's hard to even say. It's just like you hear like one rumor about Amazon, and it's like, okay, like they have money, so they can do whatever they want. I mean, I'm saying Urban has money too, but I'm just saying like Amazon can go anywhere and they can do anything they want. So
yeah, on the side, like off the record, not off the record. How cool would it be to get your Amazon packages within like an hour? Like it's literally right up the street. Like you order and like they send someone out and like you're getting like your new charger cable in like an hour.
That would be really cool. But I'm also kind of a NIMBY to the point where it's like I like driving on that road. I don't want traffic.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the one thing about when you're building, when you have jobs and housing and there's building and development being done in an area, well, you know, now you have a base to support nicer, better things. If you want more restaurants, more cool places to go, like shops and like a more vibrant town. Everyone wants this like vibrant downtown, whether it's Downingtown or Westchester or Malvern or even Coatesville. Everyone wants it to grow and expand and have like cool things to do and really be a community. But the thing is, the things that make it a community, the businesses there, they need a customer base. So, you know, with the stuff going in, with people moving into the area, like that helps develop a customer base that gets you the nicer, cooler things right in your backyard. And honestly, like just if you look around, there's places like in Downingtown that 20 years ago, you would have had to go to Philly to get that kind of experience. Let alone, you know, not even including Westchester. Like the places in Westchester and Downingtown right now, it's like you're getting like an amazing experience. I'm not like a critic, so I don't know how many, like it's maybe not like 5 stars or whatnot, but you can have a really nice night just going to Westchester. You don't have to go all the way to Philly. You don't have to go to New York or anything like that. And it's because, you know, with this growth and expansion, like you're seeing like nicer and nicer, like more of this stuff, more restaurants opening up, coffee shops opening up again, places to go hang and get like, you know, lunch spots and stuff like that. It's becoming more vibrant, but that's along with the building. You can't just like stay a small little town and expect to have like, you know, entertainment and stuff going on like all week long. So
yeah, I mean, that's a big thing too. I mean, I'm also looking at it from the standpoint of like, I mean, I'm a land person. I like driving around. I like seeing farmland. I like to seeing a lot of this other stuff. You know, but then I drive towards like Coatesville and stuff like that, and I see all these abandoned warehouses. You know, so it's almost like too, like, can't they almost do something with that too? Like, why can't somebody go in there, buy the warehouse up, fix it up, and you know, because again too, like that's again too, like you wouldn't really have that traffic standpoint. They can hop right on 30 and.
That's a good point. Yeah. So in other news, though, I was just kind of flipping through here. We have a couple things. Says the Chester County Digital Alliance, the County Planning Commission, the CCEDC, and the Chester County IU are seeking to address the gaps in coverage of internet services and broadband capability in Kennett. In Kennett, doesn't say. I guess Kennett, it's not saying Kennett Square Borough or Kennett Square School District, but that general area. So there was kind of a notice to put out that anyone who lacks internet services or broadband capability, they can notify the Kennett Square Borough, and they have some nonprofits that are addressing that issue, which is pretty cool. So, and then we have some community projects in Chester County that are receiving state funding. The Commonwealth Financing Authority approved funding for a bunch of projects to improve outdoor recreation, transportation, emergency response, public safety, water and sewer infrastructure, and community revitalization. So, I mean, a lot of money being put out here. Trying to look to see what some of like the major investments were. It looks like there was $800,000 for the CCEDC, the Chester County Economic Development Council, in partnership with the Timothy School for expanding and renovation of the school's main education building. We have just short of $1,963,000 for West Whiteland Township to rehabilitate the Clovermill Waste Pump Station. So I don't know if that waste pump station is currently not being used or just needs $1 million worth of updating, but that's a good thing. So infrastructure stuff.
Yeah. The big one that sticks out to me is the city of Coatesville is looking to renovate Chester Ash Memorial Park.
Okay. Do you know where, are you familiar with that park?
Somewhat, not really, but I think that's also, I think that's kind of awesome though, because that kind of creates a place for the community to go to and, you know, walk around and create kind of like that environment that we were just talking about, a place to hang out. So I think that's pretty big.
Yeah. I mean, parks are always good. My big thing, whenever you have like a park or money being spent for open space, I want as many people to be able to enjoy it as possible. So kind of like we were talking with the farmlands and some of the push that Chester County has towards open space, you know, it's one thing to call something a park. It's another thing to have like the trails, the benches, the open space, the activities, disc golf courses, basketball hoops, like make sure there's stuff for people to do. And we're not just like throwing a sign up that says park to like, just to keep the space open. Not necessarily a bad thing, but like I get a little frustrated when we start these parks. Like I'm always skeptical. I'm like, okay, what are we actually going to be able to do in this park? And is the community going to be able to use it, or is it just going to look nice?
I mean, with a budget of $500,000, I really hope it's not just a look nice park.
Yeah.
I really hope it's something that we can actually go to. Like you just said, they build trail systems or some sort of thing that we can actually use it and grow together as a community with.
So the next article we have here is that basically work is continuing on the Coatesville train station. So they're working on the $65 million train station project in the city of Coatesville. And it's expected to be completed by mid to late 2025. So I don't know if you've been following the Coatesville train station project at all.
No, I've not.
It should be interesting. I mean, I know a lot of people who say trains are kind of outdated. And at that point in the line, it's so far away that there's a lot of people who would be driving part of the way anyway. But, you know, I think it's great that if Coatesville gets a train station, it's probably going to give more access to the residents of Coatesville, and it would probably open up the real estate market in the city of Coatesville, I would think, to more buyers.
No, I think it's going to create a lot of job opportunities too.
Yeah.
Because a big thing right now is you know, like people that do not have access to public transportation, and different things like that. Like, oh, well, then they're only kind of confined to only working in the city of Coatesville. Which, you know, there's jobs there, but then this kind of opens up new opportunities. This opens up for them to be able to go into the city. This opens up for them to be able to go towards Malvern, just different locations. So I think it's going to really help benefit Coatesville. Yeah.
I mean, we'll have to see how it goes. $65 million is a lot of money to be spending on something. So I hope that can bring up the tax base and revenue of the area. That would definitely be a good thing.
Yeah. These 3D renderings I'm looking at right now look very nice.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Where are you seeing those?
If you click on that little link that says $65 million train station project.
Yeah, let me pull down here. All right. So this is on coatesville.org. So coatesville.org, economic-development/redevelopment authority/Coatesville train station. Might have to click through, but it is on the city of Coatesville's website. Yeah, that's awesome. So we have like that overhead walkway and the station on both sides of the track there, obviously, because we're going in and out. And is there already a Amtrak station in Coatesville?
I don't know.
Okay. Because I know Amtrak stops at different places than SEPTA, even though it will be on the same line. So I think there
might be, because it definitely does go out that route. Because I've always hopped on the Downingtown train station.
Yeah.
But it does go further, more towards the Coatesville direction. So I think there's definitely an Amtrak out there.
Yeah. So cool. All right. So I'm going to be flipping through here. I was checking out the Inquirer.com, Philly Inquirer. Are you familiar with the this allegation of misuse of funds for the PHFA?
No, I'm not.
Or this is the Pennsylvania Homeowner Assistance Fund, which I think it was administered by PHFA.
Yes.
So basically it says the state agency overseeing Pennsylvania's troubled mortgage relief program leveled a slew of new allegations against a private contractor originally hired to run it, as thousands of homeowners remain stuck in limbo. So basically the Pennsylvania Housing Finance Agency, PHFA, they had a private contractor to administrate this funds for, I guess it was a relief program for, I guess it was, it doesn't say it specifically here, but it sounds like it was pandemic related. And everything's gotten completely messed up. And these homeowners who are expecting relief, expecting funds, are taking, waiting as long as 9 months and experiencing poor communication from caseworkers. I thought this was interesting because I've gone through the process of getting I don't know who received, it was the landlord or the tenant, but we were working with the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, the ERAP funds, which were for renters who were affected by COVID. And trying to get a hold of someone for that, it was a complete nightmare. Now that was run by and administered by the housing authority. So this wasn't a private contractor. I imagine that this is probably just as bad as what they're doing, as what's going on there. So I can kind of relate to what they're going through. So here you have people waiting for 9 months to get this relief funds, but in the meantime, they're getting their utility bills and their service shut off while they're waiting, and they're watching their credit scores plummet as they fall behind in their payments and stuff. And really, oh, sorry, go ahead.
That's awful. I mean, so I've dealt with the housing authority before, dealt clients that were on Section 8 or, whatever it is like that. And it is not easy to get a hold of them. They're being 100% honest about this. It's something where you got to call multiple times a day, and you got to call every single day until you finally get somebody to pick up, because you're always going to get that voicemail. And if the problem is too, is all right, well, I was I'm going to take affirmative action. I'm going to go in there. Problem is they're still on COVID lockdown. So you can't even go in the building for fair housing. So that definitely is something that's kind of very frustrating. And I think they need to get a better hand on it, better hold on it, instead of still using the pandemic as kind of
an excuse for things not working.
Yeah, because they were like, oh, we're still behind because of the pandemic, but it's like, all right, well, it's been almost 3 years now. So right? I think it's something that they got to catch up on. And, this is people's lives you're playing with. And so.
The other thing too is you can't plan ahead. And if you have some idea of what's coming, what's not, but if you tell someone, I don't know if you ever experienced this, but someone says oh yeah, I'm going to take care of that for you, or I'm going to get you this, but then they never specify when you're actually going to receive it. It's really hard to make plans, because especially if you're someone who's well, I'm just going to move on without them. It's but I don't know if I should, or if I can, or if that's going to prevent that. So that's one of the most frustrating thing, that waiting. And one thing the article mentions is that there's a cost to having to wait. It's not just frustrating. It's not just sitting around and waiting and how annoying that is. It's you got bills piling up. You have your credit scores dropping. You have to, figure out what's going to be taken care of and what's not. And when they're not communicating, then you're kind of stuck. So yeah, it is unfortunate. It sounds like this was probably bidded out to a private company, probably to avoid that. But in my experience and your experience, whether it's the government running it or a private company, it's less than ideal. It could be tough either way. So anyway, so let's pop over to the market. All right. So I want to look at the market. I have the weekly snapshot pulled up for Pennsylvania. All right, so we're going to flip over to the Pennsylvania weekly snapshot. This is all the counties this is the market data from all the counties in Pennsylvania in the Bright footprint. So on the Bright MLS in Pennsylvania, it's kind of broken down by state, and this is generally the most relevant to what we're looking at. So it's more than just Chester County, but it's kind of a larger region here. So we can see here new closed sales were 965. So compared to this time last year, it's down 31.3%. And compared to a week ago, it's down 4.5%. So things are still closing, things are still moving, but we are seeing lower amount than last year. New purchase contracts, so 1,329. That's down 30.7%. It's up 2.5% compared to a week ago. Now, the new listings, we have 1,571. So that's down by 27.6%, up by 3.2% from last week, but 27% from last year. And then the number that I always kind of come back to, the ratio of pendings to 100 listings. So the idea is how many, this is basically how many homes are coming on the market versus how many are coming off. So if something goes under contract and then another house comes on, that would be a 1-to-1 ratio. We're looking at 85. So basically for every 100 listings coming on the market, 85 are going, so this is looking at ratio of pendings of 85, which is down 4.3%. And then it says showings is down 25.1%. So I look at this, the showings are down, the closed sales are down, and the new listings are down between a fourth and a quarter, which is why we're seeing prices kind of maintain where they're at. So if someone's looking to sell their house, we're still seeing decent offers coming in because the inventory is down, but also the showing and the demand is down, but it's kind of keeping at a similar equilibrium. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we are up 3.6% though since last week for showings. And I always have a general rule of thumb on a property. Every 6 to 8 showings presents one offer usually.
Okay.
And that's kind of like what we see in general. So, I mean, showings are down from last year, but we're still, we were getting 50 plus showings last time. So if they're down 25% of that, I mean, we're still going to be getting 40 showings.
Okay.
Per property.
Yeah. I looked up, I skipped to the new pendings to new listings ratio. So it's pretty much right where we were in 2020 at this time. A little bit lower than the last 2 years, which I think were closer. Yeah, they were closer to 1. But higher than 2019. So it's new pendings to new listings ratio. So this would mean that for every 100 new listings, there was 85 new pendings would be the ratio. I was trying to figure out which one's which. Sometimes, fractions. Yeah. But yeah, no, it's basically going to kind of point to what prices are doing. So if we're seeing a lot more new listings and not as much going off the market, we're going to start shifting into a buyer's market. If there's way more coming, way more pendings than what's coming on the market, then we're in a seller's market. So in general, I mean, not the official terms. I think that has more to do with months of inventory, but it just kind of gives us an idea of where we're at and which way the market's going. All right, so that kind of hits some of the news locally here in Chester County, some of the bigger stuff, and it gives us an idea of what the market's doing this past week.
I mean, I think that's the big thing is just staying educated. Yeah. So I think that's good that we're reviewing these numbers and, we're able to kind of just get a better idea. Because as a real estate agent, I want to make sure I'm well informed and.
Yeah. Awesome. So, all right. Well, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can contact us at chestercountypodcast.com or on the Facebook page, Chester County Real Estate Podcast. We're going to try to post as many of these links and articles as we can on the Facebook page, as well as the website. So feel free, if there's anything that you have any questions on or any corrections that you're seeing that you need, that we should know about, just reach out. The contact information is on the website. So Steve, what's a good way for them to get in touch with you?
Either hit up my website, stephenmarks.remax.com, or give me a call at 484-883-0928.
Awesome. And if you guys have any questions, you can always contact us here at the office, Remax Ace Realty. The number here is 484-712-0009. And we will see you next time.
Thanks for listening. This has been the Chester County Real Estate Podcast, brought to you by Remax Ace Realty, serving buyers and sellers in the Chester County area. Subscribe for new episodes at acerealtypa.com/podcast. And you can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever podcasts are found.